So, does your autistic child bite you or someone else? Let's talk about why they bite. I've spoken on a previous video where I explained just the pain that I feel, the anxiety that I get when my son bites me, and that is amplified when he's in a new situation or he meets new people. That could be just someone popping round my house to see us, and I suppose the anxiety that he feels and the pressure that I have as his mother to forewarn people that he does bite. Now, my son is in a special school and he's doing really well. And before he started officially, we were invited to go in just for an hour with him to see how he got on. And when I had that opportunity to speak to the teacher, the first thing that I said was, "My son bites." And her immediate response to me was, "Well, that's his form of communication." And when I think about it, it is absolutely true. Biting is communication. If you've watched any previous videos, you know that my son is non-verbal or pre-verbal, let's say. And the biting started, I would say, sort of 2.5 to 3 years old, and he's now 5. Okay, so it's just been a constant part of his, let's say, communication or trying to communicate with others. And I think the pure frustration that he's not able to use language to communicate. Previously, when he was at nursery and I had meetings with the head teacher, and they would sort of explain to me that he does bite and he has bitten other children, and the head teacher did say to me that it's not a form of aggression, Karina. And as a parent, I understand now. I know that it's not aggression, but I'm not sure it makes it any better. And I think for me, when he comes towards me and he bites me, to some extent, he's my child, I'll accept it, I'll get over it. But I think when it's someone new, I think for me, it's just trying to manage that and the judgment that they may have towards my son and what they think towards him. And I just think for me as a parent, I need to be mindful that it's not really anything that he can control. He does it, I suppose, as a last resort through pure frustration. He's not able to communicate to a point where we are understanding what he's asking for. But also I find that the biting is also a sign of him being overwhelmed, him having some sensory input needs, or, as I said, the communication frustration. The last time that my son bit me was when we were on holiday not so long ago, and I was just having an informal meeting discussion with someone. And I just think, I don't know, he was just expecting something and I deviated. So we were supposed to go out of the hotel because I thought we were going to go out, but the person I was supposed to meet came into the hotel and asked me just to sit down for a while, and I did. And my son just couldn't process that. So I sat down to have the discussion with the other person, and I took my son out of his disability pushchair and I placed him on my lap because he was getting really distressed. And I think in that moment, I didn't even think that he would lunge at me, but he did, and he bit me on my jaw. And the pain, literally there was like tears in my eye because he didn't let go, and I had to sort of get my finger and try and prise his mouth open. And I just felt like, oh gosh, what have I done? And I had to sort of retrace the steps and think, okay, maybe I could have done things a little better. When I knew the plans were going to change, I could have taken some time to explain to him and say, okay, we're not going out now, son, we're just going to sit here and just have that conversation. And I think in that split second, I didn't. And I think upon reflection, hindsight is a great thing, isn't it? Upon reflection, yes, I should have taken that split moment just to sit him down and explain that our initial plans had changed, and he just couldn't manage it. There was a lot of people in the lobby of the hotel, you know, the lights were on, there was a lot sort of going on, and he just couldn't manage that. Now, I'm happy to say since that happened, which was sort of 2 to 3 weeks ago now, during the half-term holidays, I haven't had much incidences of biting. So he does wear like a chew toy, but at home, I think I'm just managing things at home. He's now got to a point where he will tolerate the headphones on his head. School, the special school that he's at, they have been working with myself and my son, and they've given him the headphones, sound buddies, if you'd like to call them that, and he's been managing them at school. So now at home, we come home and he wears them, and I think that just quietens things, it just calms things down a little bit. I just think that, you know, as a parent or a carer, it's really difficult to manage biting. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I'm not going to feed you any lies. You know, I really just want this to be an honest account of my experiences and what I'm going through and what I'm feeling. And I'm hoping that it's relatable to you as well. That it could be anything. I'm not just going to give you one answer to solve biting. Okay, there's many things that you can put in place, like I've mentioned, the chew toy, trying to explain about transitions to your child. If there are last minute changes, trying to take that time. But I know from personal experience, when you're in that moment and you're doing something, sometimes it's just not so easy just to stop and explain. But you know, as the days and the weeks and the months go on, I'm learning more as a parent, and I come on here to explain to you what I go through, so you know that you're not alone. So we've looked at what biting is. We know it's a form of communication. Your child is trying to explain to you something and they're just not able to, or you're not able to interpret it quick enough for them. Triggers, they could be hungry, it could be a sensory overload, it could be just a change in transition, it could be just of pure frustration. Okay, something happens, they don't like it, they can't use language to communicate to you, the only thing that they know is biting. So what can you do in that moment? Okay, and I think for me, the big thing and the theme across all my videos is just to stay calm. Okay, you'll get used to it. Initially, it will be a, what are you doing? Don't bite. It will be that kind of shouting, screaming, that normal human reaction. Okay, but over time, trust me, you'll just get to understand your child, and it will just become the norm. I think it's safe to say that, you know your child bites, you'll get used to it. I'm not saying the pain will lessen, because it absolutely won't, but I would just say stay calm. No big reactions. Like when I was having that meeting on holiday in the hotel lobby, and my son lunged at me and my face was swollen for, I think, the remainder of the holiday. And at that point we had like 3 or 4 days left, and the throbbing that I had, obviously they didn't know what to say to me, but I think because I was calm, and they knew I was traveling with my son anyway, and they didn't really have any big reactions because I didn't have any big reactions. And when he did finally let go of my face, I was able to go into his bag and have, like, you know, he's got like his favorite bars and things of that nature. So I gave that to him with his juice, and I just thought, you know what, we're in a hotel lobby, we're safe where we are. I'm just going to let him run up and down. And he did, and he was absolutely fine when I did that. And that leads me on to the next point, which is, you know, just creating a bit of space. You have to give them the space, okay? They can't be confined to a chair, for example, or your lap. just if you are able to give them that space, they will calm down. Okay. You can offer them a chew toy or some sort of alternative. I always have chew toys. They're at the school, they're at home, they're in his bag, they're literally everywhere. I'm not really sure what to say about the chew toys. I think they're just there for me to say, okay, if he does need that sense of just biting something, then it's there. I'm just going to be honest with you, from my experience, I wouldn't say it's a preventative tool, but it is just something that you can use. So again, like I said, if they are seeking that sensory input, they have that there to use as an alternative and not to use your face or your body, okay? So that's what to do in the moment if you're able to. But what not to do. Don't shame your child, okay? Again, from personal experience, it may just happen, but if you can try not to just shame them. Yes, as humans, we will say, why are you biting me? Don't do that. Okay, yes, that's fine, but it's not just to make them feel really bad about it. They've done it, stay calm, give them a little bit of space. If there's an alternative for them to bite, offer that to them. Okay. And the other what not to do, which is a little controversial, and I have heard other people talking about it, is don't bite the child back. Okay. Yes, parents are still told to do this, and I've heard people saying to me, Karina, yeah, I bit my child back, and you know what, then they stopped doing it. Okay, I'm not quite sure what to say to them, but me personally, I'm not going to bite my son. That, for me, I couldn't do it, because I'm just reflecting what he's doing, and if I know it's wrong, why am I doing the same thing to him? And again, that is just my mindset and my kind of theory around it, but I'm trying to teach him not to bite. So for me to turn around and inflict the same pain on him, I'm really not sure that's going to work for my relationship with my son. And again, I'm not shaming other parents. I'm just putting it out there that for me, it's just not for me biting them back. Okay. So what could possibly help in the long term? And I think really it's just more sort of sensory outlets. What else could you give them that they may benefit from? A towel. Is it crunchy food? I know my son likes sort of like the crunchy bars and the wheat biscuits and things of that nature. So, could that be offered to your child or children, for example? Offering predictable routines. I know life can be quite chaotic, and as much as we try and schedule our day, life happens, right? So I think if you can try and incorporate routines that are predictable, fantastic. But again, we're all human, things happen. Not all the time things are going to go well, and you may have to make adjustments. But just like my example where my plans slightly changed, I think for me as a send parent, I just need to take a moment to remember my son who learns differently, and that taking 10 seconds or even up to 30 seconds to explain to him that, we're not going out now, we're just going to sit here, everything's going to be okay. Would you like to play on your tablet? Would you like a game? And I think, again, I could have offered that to my son. And the last one, I suppose, could be supporting that communication. So offering your child choices. So example, yesterday, I knew my son must have been hungry. He's just not really been eating as much as he used to. Although he's on a restricted food diet through his choice, he will only really eat his wheat biscuits and hot milk and honey. He refused that, so I knew something just wasn't quite right. But I know he likes his wheat biscuits, and I know he likes porridge. So I sat him in the kitchen and I said, okay, would you like your wheat biscuits or porridge? Which one would you like? And just giving him a choice. And, you know, he did reach for the porridge. I made him the porridge and he did eat it. So I think, again, that can calm down any frustrations for your child that has additional needs. I have also mentioned in previous videos about visuals, you know, having cards with pictures on that they recognize. You can offer that to them, and also just giving them gestures as well to support in that communication. Okay, there's no language there, but they are communicating. Finally, I just want to offer you some words of reassurance, okay, from a fellow send parent to another. And that is that you're doing fine, okay? There's no answers in a handbook. You're doing what you can, okay? And just remember, biting is far more common than parents or carers like to admit, okay? And that is one of the reasons why I'm here, to offer you some support. If you want to have an opportunity to speak with me, you can book in a call by using the link in the description below. We can have a discussion as to whether I'm a good fit for your family, and we can take things from there.